Hey guys, it's me. About the last two videos. Oh, my sister put one of them on Facebook. I don't know. We'll talk about that in another video. I have another vlog coming out. But mostly, I wanted to announce that I am starting a sports thing. Mostly NFL. I'm going to be doing, not weekly, but I'll be doing news things. And mostly, though, I'm just going to be doing prediction videos for the week. I know I started this at the end of the season, but yeah, I did. And usually they'll be coming out probably Wednesdays, maybe a little sooner, because usually there are Thursday night football games, but there's no Thursday night football this week. No idea why. But here are my predictions. Let's start with the 1 o'clock games. First of all, I believe...
Do you have my computer?
Yeah, I'm filming a video. I swear she knows when I'm filming. Every time I am filming a video, like a vlog, she opens the door. I swear, I've been up here all day, basically, and she, has once, other than that. Why? How do you know, Mother? Where's the stupid camera? Oh. I just want to say that if you're not a sports fan, you're not going to find this interesting. And for those of you that are sports fans, I'm mainly making this more like a radio thing. Like, you don't have to watch this. No one wants to watch just my face, for however long it takes me to go through all these games, talking. Just put it on while you're doing something else and listen to it. That's my entire purpose of this. Alright, here we go. Game number 1 at 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Miami Dolphins will be playing the Buffalo Bills. I know what you're thinking. Two bad teams going up against each other. This should be a pretty easy game. I'm going to say no. I'm giving this one to the Dolphins. I feel like Bills have made some pretty interesting games, and I feel like they might do that again. I don't think it's going to be a landslide. But Dolphins, in my opinion, are a much better team. And they've proven that in the past couple of weeks with wins over New England and Pittsburgh. So I put my money on Miami. Not a washout, but a solid win. Secondly, New Orleans and Carolina will also be playing at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I'm going to give that one... This one was one of the toughest ones for me. I do not like trying to choose this one. I like both these teams. And I feel like Carolina's defense is one of the defenses that can stop Drew Brees, and their offense is good enough to back that up. I'm not saying we're going to see the Seattle thing where they totally shut him down and it wasn't even really much of a competition at all. But I think Carolina might pull off a very close win. So, yeah, call me crazy, but that's my prediction. Game number 3, Cincinnati and Minnesota. I give it a close game. Matt Castle looked great in the last game. I just have a question. Where was that Matt Castle when he played for the Chiefs? I mean, he looked... Let me put it this way. On NFL.com, they have a weekly air and ground nominations between the best running players and the best passing players. He was on the list for the top 3. Matt Castle. What? That's unheard of. Okay, but anyways, my prediction is probably going to be... I'm going to give it to Cincinnati. Matt Castle's good, but Minnesota's secondary is just pitiful, and they're going up against A.J. Green. And Andy Dalton, no, he's not perfect, but I feel like he makes mistakes, but he's a little underestimated to me. I feel like we never talk about Andy Dalton. I think he's better than we give him credit for, on average. Next, Denver and Houston. Do I really have to make a projection? And I know you're going to think I'm crazy for this, but I don't think it's going to be a stomping. I don't think Houston's going to just get drove into the ground by Denver. I know everyone thinks that, but Denver's defense, I hate to say this, that's why they lost to San Diego. They're coming off a loss, and it was because of their defense. I know everyone's like, oh, their defense is so strong. They have a good blitzing defense, but their secondary is too weak without Champ Bailey. I'm sorry, it just is. And no, they'll probably have Matt Schaub in, but he's not gonna be able to just come in and rip up their defense. So I do give it to Denver, of course, just because their offense is unstoppable and their defense is good enough to pass against a team like Houston. So I give it, but I think Houston will score at least 20 points. I think it's going to be a lot like the New England game, not quite as close, but same idea. Next we have Tennessee and Jacksonville. Not a fun one. Jacksonville's been doing pretty well recently. Their defense is actually something that surprised me. I don't know if you guys watched it, but if you want to see something, it's funny and sad. Being a Michigan fan, U of M is kind of my school. That is my favorite. Denard Robinson, who got drafted by the Jaguars in the 5th round, he was on this big run on his way to his first NFL touchdown, and he fumbled, got stripped of the ball within the 5. I don't know what happened, but it's just a funny play. I'd watch it. But their defense has impressed me, and I hate to say this, but I kind of like them. They're my underdog team now. With Maurice Jones-Drew out for now, we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna give this one to Tennessee. Ryan Fitzpatrick looks really well. Oh yeah, that was another person who was on the top 3 list. My gosh, it's kind of disgusting actually. Secondly, Indianapolis versus Kansas City. Now, Kansas City had that 9-0 start, but I want to say something. And I know you guys might get mad for me saying this, but Kansas City, everyone was saying how they aren't as good. They were 9-0. Give them credit. They showed up. They have had the easiest record. Now, they have only played 3 teams with winning records. Against those 3 teams, they are 1-2. And they are playing the 9-5 Colts. Now, Colts have struggled of late. Everyone's seen that. And I credit that mostly to their defense. But I do feel that Chiefs will pull it off. That is just a factor, though, that shows that when they play against higher quality teams, they can't quite pull it off. So, I'm going to give this one to Kansas City, though. I feel like the struggling Colts are not going to be able to contain their hot of late offense, and the Chiefs' defense is, well, hard to stop. So, but I call it close. All right, Jets and Browns. That is such a nasty game. But the way the Jets showed up to play against Carolina last week, Geno Smith has had less turnovers, even though he still leads the league in turnovers. I'm going to give it to the Jets. But, I don't know, Josh Gordon. That's all I have to say. Up next, Tampa Bay. Yes, they're on a hot streak. Will they beat St. Louis? No, the Rams will win. Their defense... Alright, if you're on fantasy, which of course I am, if you go to basically to the players link to get a defense, they're the number 1 out of the not picked one every time. Now I know they're not the number 1 defense, but they're the number 1 not owned defense. They're good enough to stop Tampa Bay. So I'm going to give this one a decent win for St. Louis. Next, Dallas and Washington. So Cowboys, Redskins. Comment and tell me what you guys think about Kirk Cousins. The whole thing with sitting RG3 and what you think about that. I will say, RG3 averaged 246.1 yards per game this season. And Kirk Cousins came in and threw 248, 2 more yards than RG3's average in the first half. Yep. At first, I was kind of like, what are you doing? RG3's too good, but I don't know. Kirk Cousins looked a lot better against Atlanta. But, regardless, and I know you guys are all expecting me to rant on Tony Romo, but I will say this. In the first 6 minutes, I think it is, of the first quarters in his career, he is 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 131 passer rating. That is incredible. In the final 5 minutes of fourth quarters, in games within 7 points, both of these are with games within 7 points. In the last 5 minutes of games within 7 points, I think he has 2 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. A 59 passer rating. It's no comparison. You guys can say it if you want, but Green Bay was the prime example. He chokes. I'm sorry. New York and Detroit. I hate to say it, I mean, being from Michigan, Detroit's my home. They're kind of my home team. But it's hard for me to root for them right now. I mean, alright, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to rant on Matthew Stafford. This goes against my whole nature to do this. He becomes like Tony Romo in December. He's 3-11 in games in December and January. That's including his one playoff game. 3-11. His completion percentage is 39%. That is awful. That is like forsaken by God bad. Like that is oh, come on. I mean, his picks and everything. I think he's got a total of like 14 in the fantasy points in like the past 3 weeks. It's terrible. He's the only one who has lower ratings in December games than Tony Romo as far as picks and touchdowns and passer rating. That's hard to do. It's really hard to do, and he did it. But seeing as how they are playing New York, and Eli throws enough picks, and the defense on the line is good enough to apply pressure, and that's going to force him to throw bad passes. And I feel like even though Detroit, if they make it to playoffs, are not going to beat anyone, just because they kind of shoot themselves in the foot with throwing bad passes for Stafford. When he's good, he's one of the best. But I'm sorry, I'm just ranting a lot because it's the Lions. Megatron, you will go down as, at worst, the second best receiver ever to play. Jerry Rice, watch yourself. But I'm going to give Detroit the win over New York. Arizona and Seattle. Arizona's doing good, but Seattle, they surpassed the 49ers for allowing the least points per game as a defense. 14.6 per game. So, just a little fact. The Seahawks, they have, out of their whole punts for all season, have allowed 19 punt return yards. They are on pace to set a record. The Packers 27 in 1967. So, well, and the thing is, they had a 10-yard return by Ted Ginn Jr. in Week 1. So that means they've had a total of 9 punt return yards since Week 2, which is incredible. All right, on to the next game. Baltimore and New England. Tom Brady's my favorite player. New England's one of my favorite teams. They make every game so close. I will say, hey, let me just say this. Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the NFL. Alright? You can disagree, agree if you want, but no, he scored all 18 points against Detroit last week, including a 61-yard game winner. That's pretty dang good. Anyways, I'm going to give this one to New England. I'm trying not to be biased. I do think, again, we're going to see a great game, and I feel like this is very weak towards New England just because Baltimore's on a hot streak. They're doing good. They're kind of looking like a new team. And I will say it still is mainly because of their defense. Okay, next game. Green Bay and Pittsburgh. To be honest, with Rodgers doubtful and Eddie Lacy coming off a position where he maybe wasn't going to play, I'm going to give this one to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, coming off that win against Cincinnati was big, and I'm going to give them the win here. Kudos, though, to Matt Flynn, who had a good week last week. I mean, you guys can disagree, but I thought it was pretty good. San Diego and Oakland. Oakland's not good enough to beat almost anyone right now. San Diego just coming off a win of Denver. They're hot. They're on fire. They're going to win this one. Give this one to the Chargers. Sunday night's matchup of Philadelphia and Chicago. That's going to be a really good game. I'm glad that's on Sunday Night Football because I will be watching. Bears defense this year really hasn't shown to play the way they did last year. I feel like their secondary is one of the greatest things about them. And Nick Foles, whether you agree or not, since he's been in here, in my opinion, has been a top, get this, 6 quarterbacks since he's started. I know people are going to be like, that's crazy, but it's true. Look at the stats, look at the numbers, look at the wins and losses. This kid's good. Okay? And they are, what's going to happen? Oh, yeah. They're going to playoffs. He won them the division. And would Michael Vick have done that with Chip Kelly's spread him out offense? I honestly do not think so. I feel like they still would have been in it, but I feel like Dallas might have been able to beat them out just by getting key wins over them. And I feel like a couple of the things that Nick Foles has done, Nick Folk, Jets kicker, that Nick Foles has done, you can't refute that. I don't think Michael Vick could have done it. One thing, though, I will say, his spread out offense doesn't work as well in the red zone. They average the fewest yards in the red zone, and their percentage of touchdowns in the red zone is the lowest of any team in the NFL. Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. 31st. So one team is lower. But, I mean, I don't know if that's going to cut it come playoff time. But in this game, Alshon Jeffrey's been hot. Brandon Marshall, he didn't practice much this week. I'm going to give it to Philadelphia. I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to say that they can beat them. So I'm going to give this one to Philadelphia. Monday night's game of Atlanta and the San Francisco. 49ers are going to win. Don't have much to say on that. So, guys, that was my predictions. Tell me what you thought. Again, if you're not a sports fan, that's okay. Just don't watch this stuff. Don't listen to this stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment, tell me what you thought. Tell me if you thought I was wrong. Things that I should talk about next. Yeah, see ya.